Imagine this. It's a humorous story, but sometimes I imagine this. We leave the rod to grab the tail. It looks like a rod. It's the tail of the dragons. I feel scales. Wow, what a sign. Do you hold on to scales? So we're ascending a mountain now. We will be in the heights. Now imagine this. Bah! I am the goat shepherd, that one would say. Bah! I am the shepherd of sheep. And by the way, I am a shepherd. My sheep are in a herd, not a flock, for those are for the fowl of the air. I am not a flock. I am a shepherd. And where are sheep? They do not seek the loftiest of places. The goats love to go up and down. There's no water on the top of a mountain, for we are closer to the sun now. But the air is thin, and we thought we'd be the heirs. Wow. So imagine this humorous little story, and just enjoy it for a moment, and don't be afraid, okay? You like Sir, S-U-R, and a prize? I'm going to earn a prize. Tell me how to earn it. Well, let me tell you. It would be quite humorous. And in all that is all that is, you are still an SOL of God. So let's not forget that. But you climb the shepherd up to the top of a mountain, like a tear that rises to the air, up some stairway to heaven. And I think it would be humorous to then pull off my hood if I was that one and go, surprise. You couldn't tell the difference between a goat and a sheep. Is that where your heart lies? Are you trying to exalt yourself? The sheep do not. I think it's humorous. I've gone online and I've looked up this. And yeah, some were photoshopped, but this is the truth. Talk about the tree of life or any tree in the Garden of Eden. Do you know goats climb trees? Sheep do not. They will climb trees and even eat the leaves, Eve, like the eaves of a tree. They don't know what they're doing, for they depend upon those leaves. Those leaves give life to the tree and bring them air. It creates oxygen, element 8, like the 8-pointed star. And it makes their blood red and turns it from blue to red, which is purple, the purple heart. Sheep do not go into trees. I sometimes imagine a humorous story because I like stuff like that. I like to put humor in it. I imagine David out in the flock, the 8th son of Jesse, watching the sheep, for he's doing the job the youngest does, I guess. I imagine they did all his older brothers before, I don't know. But imagine him out there and Jesse comes out and goes, where are the sheep? And he says, I cannot help it, they're in the trees. I cannot get them out of the trees. Sheep do not climb trees. Goats do. And they don't know what they're doing, for they're eating the leaves that gives them the very breath of life in this world as a metaphor. I want to tell you something about the 6-pointed star that I find very interesting. If you go to the periodic table, you high school physicist, and look at the 6-pointed star, it is carbon. Wow. Isn't it kind of amazing that scientists this day say all organic life is carbon-based from the 6-pointed star? Wow. Is that carbon? Are you putting a lot of pressure on my coal and turning it into a diamond? Sometimes I wonder about that. There's too much pressure. Did you know every world is a sun? Every planet is a sun, for every planet comes forth from the sun. They're very elements. I will tell you about 1, 2, 1, 2. Hydrogen, helium, hydrogen, helium, hydrogen, helium. High, helium, helios, sun. That is what goes on in the sun. Hydrogen, helium, fusion, fission, fusion, fission. Hydrogen is 1. Helium is 2. Now let me give you a sign that means the same thing to you. A greeting. Hi, hello. Is hello mean hi? Or does hi mean hello? Do you see these signs, or am I speaking over your head? Even you said Jesus spoke in parables. What do you see in what I'm saying? Do you see a type and sign in all things? I do. And maybe you do too. hydrogen. Now 2 hydrogens join to make a helios. Hydrogen, helium, the sun. 1, 2, 1, 2. Now 1, 2, 3. Oh my goodness, now we have denser elements. But did you know all of the elements on the periodic table are just hydrogens joined together? For an oxygen is just made of 8 hydrogens. In fact, I don't know if I'm going too far, but I like to see this. And one day I was pondering it, and I thought about this, and I said, you know what? I think I see something here. Even in the world of science, they do it. The elementals, like electrons, they want to be the very elect. Electricity fall from heaven, like Satan. Male, female, on the tree of life. But I digress. And I forgot what I was going to say. The symbol of an atom. We go to school and I remember the atom. It is not a coincidence, you know. It is not a coincidence that atom is the smallest particle, and Adam was made a particle, a man. The atom in science has a sign to me that I see. Let me share it with you and maybe you'll see the same. For there are types and signs all around us. We have a proton that we like to put as a circle, as a positive. In some philosophies, male and female are like genders, a positive and a negative, like 2 ends of a cord. Yet the negative is not really negative. It is what we call the female end of the cord, and the positive. Now, if you saw 2 ends of a cord and you did not see the cord connecting them, and you just saw the ends, you just see male and female. Fine. Think about that for a moment, but let's look at an electron. We have a positive, we have a neutron. Now, how do we do a neutron? I would do an even line, for it is neutral. Like a seesaw or a scale that is perfectly balanced on a fulcrum. It is neutral. It is even, right, Eve? Where is that little line that used to go right up and down to make it 2 protons? Did you use that as your little negative electron shell? I wonder sometimes about that light. I wonder. It's okay to wonder. It's a marvelous work in a wonder. But why don't we put that little electron where it belongs? But then we'd have 2 pros. I'll tell you, we are all pros. We're all pros. God is the biggest pro there is. But sometimes I wonder about those signs, and maybe you can think about them too. Let us take a moment and talk about the irony of the iron rod. I'm going to go back to a type and sign in all things. Even East and West has them, for all is made of God. So I would like you to see this type and sign. All is bending, so nothing is bent. It is like the United Order of Zion. All is spending and nothing is spent. For no one's saving money, and all is spent, for all is spending and nothing is spent. Do you see the one whole? And all is spending, but nothing is spent. We're not like Iblis, the ones that the Islamists talk about in the Quran, that is like the devil, who refuse to bow. We are like a wheel unto ourselves. The will of God has many wills, many, many wills, with an H-E-E-L, because it heals to its own self. But the wills do not conflict. We do not enter fear. And now we're talking about rights and the righteous. But we'll go back to the Tao for a minute. I think this is humorous, and I hope you can find the humor in it. The Tao is, in the East, is called the Great Way. It was the way that they said of the ancient masters who knew that all life is one, and said in the Tao Te Ching, you know how it says, name everything, call everything in the garden Adam. And the Tao Te Ching says that we get lost in the naming of things. And as we name things, we tend to forget the one Tao, the one life that is eternal. That is all. But it's funny, the word Tao. They spell it T with a T, but it's pronounced with a D. Look it up. It's pronounced Tao Te Ching, even though it starts with a T, T, C, and has a T and a T and a C. Tao Te Ching. Now the Tao is a rod, I told you before. Now, it used to be ever bending and never bent.